Whew. Wait, the new one is cheaper? How does that work? The DJI Osmo Mobiles. What's up everyone, I'm the Everyday Dad. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. DJI very recently announced their update to the DJI Osmo Mobile. It's lighter, works longer, costs less. But is it actually better? Let's find out. Now, this is going to be more of a physical comparison between the two gimbals, since they both use the same DJI Go app and they both use the same camera, your cell phone. Which is pretty awesome. Now, if you want to see a more in-depth video about the DJI Osmo Mobile 2, click here. But let's break this down into 5 sections. First up, price. The DJI Osmo Mobile 1 costs $199 brand new from the DJI website. However, you can also purchase a refurbished one for $159 from DJI. Mine is actually the refurbished one, and I highly recommend getting the refurbished one over getting a brand new one if you're going to decide with the Osmo Mobile 1. The Osmo Mobile 2 costs $129 from DJI, or way too darn much from an eBay reseller. Dang! Come on, guys. Next up is weight. The Osmo Mobile 2 tips the scale at 17.2 ounces. And the DJI Osmo Mobile 2 went on a serious diet and is down to 17.1 ounces. So not that big of a difference weight-wise between the two gimbals. Battery life. The Osmo Mobile 1 has a removable 980 milliamp hour battery and can last for roughly 3.5 hours. The Osmo Mobile 2, on the other hand, has a non-removable 2600 milliamp hour battery and can get up to 15 hours of battery life. And as an additional benefit, the Osmo 2 can charge other devices, such as your phone, which definitely wins me over because I like devices that serve more than one purpose. So which one does better on battery life is kind of a personal preference. Do you prefer a smaller removable battery, or do you like a larger non-removable battery? It definitely comes down to your power preference. Construction. The Osmo Mobile 1 feels great. It perfectly fits in my hand, and I really like the layout over just about anything else. I like how it's got a nice grip and doesn't slide around or fall out of my hand. The mounting option for this gimbal is on the side, and I can appreciate what DJI was going for by placing it here, but I personally hate this location. It's terrible. The Osmo Mobile 2, on the other hand, definitely feels less robust. It is almost the exact same shape and dimensions as the first gimbal, but the chassis just feels cheaper. And it also doesn't have that nice grip, which is a shame. It has the same plastic feel all around the handle. However, the tripod mount location is much better situated at the bottom. Also, the cell phone mounting device is different for the two gimbals. The Osmo 1 has a locking clamp that you can tighten your phone onto, and the Osmo 2 has a spring clamp system. Again, down to personal preference. I prefer the overall tactile feel of the Osmo Mobile 1. It just feels like a higher quality device over the Osmo Mobile 2. However, I like the tripod mount and the spring clamp way better on the Osmo Mobile 2 than I do on the Osmo 1. The button schemes are almost the exact same, except for two notable exceptions. The Osmo Mobile 1 has its trigger button in the front. This button, when held, locks the panning of the gimbal to keep it locked into one position. It can also be used to reset the orientation and change the camera to the front-facing camera when clicked 3 times. The main difference is the trigger on the Osmo 2 was moved to where the mode button was on the original. It still does the same thing, it still locks it and changes the orientation and resets it. However, it's not quite as functional because you can't hold it down to lock anymore. The next notable exception is that the button on the side on the Osmo Mobile 1 is the on-off switch, where on the Osmo Mobile 2, it is a digital zoom. Charging options. When it comes to charging the gimbal, a major difference is the Osmo Mobile 1 uses a 3.5mm power cable. You heard me correctly, a 3.5mm power cable, don't confuse it with your headphone cable. And the Osmo Mobile 2 uses a micro USB. So which do I prefer? Honestly, both are great gimbals and either one will do a good job in stabilizing your cell phone camera. They both use the exact same app, and that app is actually one of my favorite camera apps of all time because of all the advanced features it has. Now I know I hear all the angry typing right now. Yes, it's my favorite because I value convenience over everything else, and it has so many convenient options, changing video resolution, using all the features of the gimbal. It's right there. I don't have to mess around with the native camera app or like a Filmic Pro. I like the DJI Go app. Of the two, I prefer the feel and the button layout of the Osmo Mobile 1. It's just perfectly laid out. However, I prefer the Osmo Mobile 2 over the Osmo Mobile 1 for a couple of reasons. Number one, I prefer having a longer lasting, non-removable battery. I like having that option, and I like being able to charge other things with this if my battery bank runs out of power. Number two, and this is a big one to me, I much rather have the micro USB jack to charge my gimbal than the 3.5mm jack on the Osmo Mobile 1. I hate that 3.5mm jack. It basically turned my Osmo Mobile 1 into a hunk of plastic and metal that didn't do anything. I forgot to bring my charging cable with me on a trip, and no store in the area sold another one of those charging cables. So it basically ended up being useless, because if you can't charge it, it doesn't do anything. I would recommend the Osmo Mobile 2 over the 1 just on that alone. Like, that can turn into such a crappy experience if you're not able to charge it, especially when it has such a short battery life. But whichever one you will prefer comes down to personal preference. And it's really hard to say one's better than the other because there isn't such a clear distinction over which. Both have better features than the other. Neither one is better in everything than the other one. It's just gonna take whatever your personal preference is for gear, that's gonna be the one that wins over the other one. So which one do you prefer? Leave a comment below. I'd like to see what the community thinks on which gimbal they like better. Also, click that subscribe button down below. We do tech review videos every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Well, hey, I'm the Everyday Dad, and if I can figure out how awesome cell phone gimbals are and that the future is now, seriously, you can figure it out. Thanks for watching.